Environmental collapse, mental health pandemics, a culture-wide crisis of meaning. Must Western civilization fall, and will we, its children, fall with it? I will explore the hidden layers of our psyche in search of answers. I am standing next to Henry David Thoreau's desk, which was originally in his cabin at Walden Pond, where he spent 2 years observing nature and writing notes for his masterwork, Walden. Thoreau retreated from society in search of clarity, but he found something else entirely, something that never failed him: solitude. It consoled him when nothing else could. He wrote, "I went to the woods because I wished to live deliberately, to front the essential facts of life and see if I could not learn what it had to teach, and not when I came to die discover that I had not lived."
My name is Richard Smith. I've been portraying Henry David Thoreau for 26 years. I dress up in 19th century clothing and I act like Henry Thoreau, like it's 1847. I find it very interesting to try to channel Henry Thoreau when I'm dressed in clothing like him when I'm at Walden Pond. I feel that I'm putting myself into his shoes rather than him putting himself into my shoes. I have to use his words. I have to think his thoughts. I have to be aware of what's happening in the world in 1847. He grew up here on this farm. When he was born, there were no canals, there was no railroad, there was no telegraph. By the time he was living at Walden Pond 30 years later, all of those things existed. And it really bothered him. It worried him that we are becoming too industrial and too modern and really not connecting with nature. He's looking for God. As he says in his journal, "I'm always on the lookout for God, to find him in all of his lurking places." So by knowing nature on an intimate level, knowing every flower, plant, the seasons, the animals, he really feels like he's connecting with the universe and with God, not only around him, but within himself as well.
One of the things I admire most about Henry David Thoreau is, paradoxically, he doesn't care whether you like him or not. It's important to him to put his message across and to persuade you, but not in a way that tries to win you over personally. What he's really saying is, you're a coward, you're a fool. It's time to do something about it.
Henry David Thoreau actually had a lot to say about money and how you earn a living. He was not particularly interested in earning a lot of money. He thought the idea of working 7 days a week, 14 hours a day just to earn money so you might have a big house or a lot of furniture or the nicest clothes was absolutely ridiculous. He thought that you should earn your living because you love the job.
Well, so many of the places that we can see here are places described in Walden. And being able to visually see what he was describing makes it come alive. Every morning when I wake up, the very first thing I do is I walk outside, I look around, and I just am calmed and sort of puts everything in perspective for me. And sometimes I go to my garden and I see that the groundhog has come and eaten all the buds off of my salvia plant. And I'm furious. And then I think, no, wait a minute. This is natural, and it's okay, it's in the course of things. And so it gives me perspective to not place too much emphasis on having things the way I want them to be. Thoreau was living at Walden, but he explored the woods in the area, and he liked to come to this area here, which is Pleasant Meadow, just behind me, and then the Sudbury River here, which we can also see, and he liked to fish here. And there's one passage in Walden where he talks about interacting with a farmer who lives in a kind of a shack along the shoreline of the river, and he laments the fact that the farmer has to work hard to buy the things that he needs, clothes and staples, flour, sugar, etc. And he is freed from that because he lives off of his own little garden and the fish that he catches. And he talks about how wonderful it is to be free and just be able to play and to fish for pleasure and not because you have to.
It really wasn't until the 1960s that he became famous. Nowadays, because of the global warming, because of climate change, because of political instability, because of immoral governments doing things we don't want them to do, these are all things that he was dealing with in the 19th century. So I think that a lot of people are starting to look to him for words of inspiration, words of comfort, looking at his book, Walden, and saying, well, if he was dealing with these things then, how do we deal with these things now?
This noon, as pale light spills through the trees and falls on Thoreau's family's humble grave, I think about his self-imposed poverty. A poverty not of things, but of attention, presence, and unmediated experience. Isn't this the great paradox of the Western mind, that in our relentless effort to possess experience, we lose the ability to actually live it? Thoreau's central question still hangs in the air, more urgent than ever. After we've simplified everything else, can we simplify ourselves? For Spell of the Western Psyche, this is Marcin Fabijański at Sleepy Hollow Cemetery, where one man's radical experiment continues to influence visitors' lives.